Welcome back from the commercial break. This is a leadership his way, and we are talking about the role of accountability in godly leadership. Before the break, we've looked at quite a number of aspects in accountability. But then, when you talk about accountability, it is broad. Even with this single show, we might not exhaust everything, but we can only talk about what we can for the time we have. Dr. Eki, why do people fear accountability? You gave us an example earlier of someone who said, why do you want the accountability? And of course, someone would really say, like you said, so you all along you've not been trusting me. That is why you're asking for this. But why do people fear accountability? That is an example, of course. But why do people fear accountability? To be accountable.
Accountability goes with the responsibility.
Okay.
Because whatever you are interested with, you have to give an account of how you have used it, or looked after it, or gone about with it. Okay? Your position in the home as a head of the family, how have you conducted yourself as a leader of the home? I mean, there will be, each man is in his own kingdom, what. But if you are telling me that that is God-given, God requires us to be accountable. God cannot say, just be accountable to me, don't worry about the others. So accountability goes with responsibility. You are responsible to use the things you've been given. For example, even my own health, I'm responsible. Okay, God, to God, but also my children, my husband. I'm responsible to look after myself so that I'm at my best for them. If you look at my, the way I dress, I'm responsible for the way I dress. What impression am I going to give out there? If I stand up and say I'm a Christian, people will say, which one now? Look at the way she's. So I don't think we can get away from the fact that accountability goes with responsibility, and many times people don't want to be held responsible. We are in a very interesting time politically, when people are going back to look for votes and others are coming in, and there's the electorate here that are saying, but we don't know what this person has done the 5 years. Are you accountable? What have you done with the responsibilities that you were given when you were elected an MP? So those two cannot be separated. You must be accountable if you are a responsible person. If you are a responsible person, you must be accountable. My brothers and sisters who are looking for votes, I hope they can account for the 5 years they've been, for what they've done for the 5 years to convince the electorate. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Muhumuza.
If I can add on, I remember when we were young, we used to read a lot of novels, and one of them was called The Guilty Are Afraid. That was the title of a novel, I think by James Hadley-Chase. The Guilty Are Afraid.
Okay.
So if you are guilty, if you've not done what you should have done, definitely you are going to fear accountability. So if you are clear in what you are supposed to do, and you do it to be proudly, you'll proud account because you've done what you're supposed to have done. But the moment you divert and do the wrong thing, the money has been diverted, they give you permission to go and visit a friend, you're a young person, but you're now in a nightclub, then you'll not be able to explain where you are. And so people are afraid to account when they don't do the right thing, when they divert from the expectations, then they want to cover up. It starts with our greatest grandfather, Adam. You know, why did you eat the fruit? They were holding him accountable. The one you gave me is the one who served it to me, you know, dodging around. The second reason people are not accountable, especially in the workplace, is poor record keeping. You start off by not having a well-done budget. So you guessed the amounts you require to carry out a certain project or task. You are under budgeted or you over budgeted, and when it comes to spending, your spending is not matching with your budget. So maybe you have a lot of money remaining behind. I mean, that you've not spent. And you're saying, now, should I return this balance? Or should I cook up some things, spend this money on? You create, you create problems for yourself. Or you don't record as you spend. So when it's time to account, you can't remember where the money has gone. When I was working with a certain organization, every staff was required to write a monthly report. And people struggle with this monthly report. 30 days have gone, you need to be paid your salary, and they want to, what is it? Account for the time you spent. What is it you've done? And people are scratching their heads, they're writing half a page. The solution was, keep a journal. Keep a book. Every day, enter your journal, the things that you've done, the things that have happened, the meetings you heard, the decisions made. The following day, write. The following day, write. When it comes to the end of the month, you just go to your journal, pick the highlights, and write them down. Most Africans are not good at writing, keeping records. Even when you want to be paperless and you're using the phone, every smartphone has got notes section. So go and write your notes, write your journal there, so that when you are counting, you can have the facts and the records. We are poor at writing our autobiographies. We've lived all these years. They say, tell us your life story, and scratch your head. But I discovered people who keep journals and keep them away and keep them away. What happened 50 years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago? It's all in my journal. When it comes to writing my autobiography, I will not be guessing. The memory may have forgotten, but I'll go and check 50 years ago, where was I, what did I do? And then I can be accountable in writing the book or the magazine article. So let's be men and women who keep records. God is a record keeper. That's why I have the Bible. If you read the Old Testament, you know, Chronicles, and the details of what was recorded helps account for us. So we also need to learn from God, but also to learn from the patriarchs and those going before us, to be men and women who can document what's going on, the good, the bad, the ugly. Let's record it and pick lessons from there. Then we can be accountable easily.
Thank you so much, Mr. Muhumuza. As we continue, Mr. Sambaga, how can someone develop personal accountability?
Okay.
Because I believe it all starts with you as a person, and then it goes out.
Okay, before I come to that, I wanted to give a personal testimony. Years ago, I was leading a mission at my local church, and I got resources from the church administration to run the mission. And of course, I also had the team to work with, and I gave the money to many people. And whereas everybody was giving me accountability, one lady said, "This guy thinks we are thieves. We cannot. Why does he ask us for accountability? Does he believe we didn't use the money right?" And See,
Does he doubt our Christianity?
well, that's the thing. So I had to take time to explain and say, you know what, by asking for accountability, I'm also being required to present this accountability, but it's also a confirmation that actually we did what we said we would do. And so that needs to be brought up in the record form, and then we pass it on. Eventually it will be escalated and the books of the church will be audited using that documentation. Of course, it was a long story, but that's how people are sometimes. When you ask for accountability, they think you're doubting them. No, it's not so. Yeah, thank you. You've asked how does one develop the habit of personal accountability? And that is very important. Maybe these questions about people thinking we doubt them wouldn't arise. But even for you to know that any organization that is worth its salt must be audited as a form of accountability. And audit happens around money, it happens around time, it happens around many other things that anybody ever passed on to you. And eventually an audit report becomes a public document that is read by everybody, every stakeholder, and even non-stakeholders, if they are there. So it's a form of accountability, and in order for you to be looked at as a going concern, an audit is inevitable. How does it all begin? It begins with you as an individual officer, as an individual person, knowing your role in that organization. That what is my role? Am I the human resource manager? Am I the accountant? Am I the country director? Am I the sweeper? I need to know what's my role, and then subsequently my contribution in terms of outputs in that organization. And if you know that you play a particular role, then that becomes a point of accountability. And so that is very important. So it starts with you knowing your place, your role in that setup. Secondly, developing personal accountability has to do with you being honest with yourself. In some organizations, they have means and mechanisms of you demonstrating your role. And the way Robby has said here is that you need to take note of what you do so that your honesty can be checked. So you need to be honest in terms of what you do. What did you do? Or what did you not do? Some organizations have timesheets. You walk into the office, by the end of the day, you indicate how many hours did you work and what did you exactly do. And you spread your time. You are being honest with your time. In some places, you have a clock in, clock out facility. That is how you develop personal accountability. In some cases, the third part of developing personal accountability is to take responsibility for your actions, for your decisions, for your responsibilities. You might have done good things, own up. You might not have done good things, own up. And where it is necessary, take responsibility by saying, you know what, I'm sorry I didn't do it. And it's okay. That's how you take personal accountability. Many times we don't do what we say we'll do. Sometimes, if you fall short, the easy way is to take responsibility and by saying, I didn't do it. Then people know that you didn't do, and then you explain why you didn't do. Maybe next time you'll do better. So that is very important to develop personal accountability. The fourth area is to how do you use your time. As we walk in this life, every minute counts. I always tell people at age 70, there are things that you cannot do that you did when you are 40.
The things that you did at 40, you cannot do them at 70. The things you did at 12, you cannot do them at 30. I sometimes, I see it from myself. When I wake up from bed, I don't just jump out of bed because I'm now growing old. When I was younger, I would just wake up and jump out of bed and run even. No longer I can't, because time has gone and there are things I can no longer do because of time, accounting for my time. Then the other thing that can help me develop personal accountability is not to overcommit. Sometimes there are officers in organizations or wherever you are. Anything that comes, can you do this? Yes, I can. Can you do that? Yes, I can. And at the end of the day, you have too much. You can't do it. You can't do, actually, you end up not doing everything because you're a yes person. Learn to say no when you can't do certain things. Look at what is on your plate, accept what you can do, and turn down what you can't do. Politely, and let people will find somebody else to do. So do not overcommit. Accept things that are within your means that you can do, and then pass on those that you cannot do. So those are some of the things that you can do to develop personal accountability.
Okay. Dr. Eke, picking it up from there.
Yes, we also have to appreciate that it requires discipline to do what Patrick has explained. For example, when I have things to buy, I make a list. It helps me not to go on a shopping spree. And when I go with my grandchildren, I teach them the importance of sticking to that list. Because when they go down that aisle, they pick what is on the list, but also there is also something else. So they learn that when we go shopping, we keep to the list. And if I think they've done something, they've done it well, then I can say, okay, each one of you can pick something, this price, within the, 5,000, whatever. So there is discipline if we are to develop that accountability. Writing down things. At the beginning of the month, I know there is a car. Now it's light, is it?
Light.
There is light, there is water, So you write down those obligations and make sure that you clear them. Paying those who help you in the home. Why do you have to wait until mid of the month to pay this girl or this man when they are serving you? So that is the discipline I'm talking about. That we must learn that accountability requires discipline. And even in the office, if the people you are leading see you accounting for things, they will also follow. When I'm traveling, the organization gives me per diem and this and that. So I ask the finance people, which of this money do I have to account for? So that I leave knowing that my per diem is mine. This one I have to account for. But I'm like, if you are giving me money for travel, these taxis or borders, they don't give receipts. So the staff see me accounting, which means that when I come back from that trip, accountability is easy because I kept it in mind and followed the expenditure, and therefore I do it within the time, because we are given a time. Please give your accountability within 5 days of return or whatever it is. So we set an example if we are accountable. And the discipline that it requires is not an overnight thing. It's not in the big things. You start small, personal. How do you account for your salary? How have you spent it? Who needs what, Account for that. Okay? Some people, they tithe. Have you taken off the tithe? Those who don't tithe, they have their own reasons. But I'm thinking, if you have the discipline with your salary, it means your attitude towards money is more healthy. And therefore, when somebody is asking for accountability, it has nothing to do whether they trust you or not. And if you are trustworthy, then there's no problem. Just give the accountability. What did you do with the money? That's all we want to know. Not because we think you are thief, but because we need to know. We have a budget, we have auditors coming, so we need to know how the money has been spent.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Mr. Muhumuza, giving us a submission and your closing remarks.
It's good we are talking about accountability his way, because as illustrated by Patrick, when they are doing that church mission, one of the members says, "What? You don't trust me?" We need to talk about accountability at all levels. You can call it awareness creation, you can call it training, you can call it capacity building, but you need to talk about it. Why is it important? Why is it necessary? And how to do it. My grandson is 15. I encourage him to make a budget, a shopping list, and to record, keep a journal, so that he can be accountable to himself, to us, the parents, and to God. But also at the place of work, teach people the importance, but also give them the tools for accountability. I sit on the board of one organization. I know in the last week we had training for managers and for secretaries on various board committees. How do you write minutes? How do you prepare reports to go to the board? That's a form of accountability. We have been complaining that the minutes, they are all over the place. We have been complaining that the reports they give us don't give us what they're looking for. So we said, no, let's give them training. We got an expert, and we went through that. And they all said, wow, we wish we had done this training much earlier. Our reports are going to be different. Our minutes are going to be different. So talk about it, train. If you're a board member or on RC committee or at the district of the organization, and you don't know how to read an audit report, you don't know how to read the financial report. You say, for me, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a mathematician, yet as a board member or as a member of RC5 or RC1, you are responsible for the finances. Get training in finance for non-financial people so that you can be accountable as a treasurer who didn't study finance. But also when the treasurer or finance manager present their report, you can ask intelligent questions. So capacity building, training in how to be accountable to God, to the community, to our voters, and also to our neighbors is important.
Thank you so much. Dr. Anything else? Or you went?
Just to emphasize
Okay.
that accountability grows our trust. Nobody can trust me if I'm not accountable. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Eki. Mr. Sambaga, as you close up this discussion.
Okay, I want to wind up by emphasizing how do we practice accountability. One, you practice accountability by surrounding yourself with wise counsel. That's very important if you're going to manage. Surround yourself with people who are wiser, who are better, probably better than you, or just good enough. They can hold you accountable, they can look in your eye and say, tell me the truth. That's very important for accountability. The other Two is be able to share, be comfortable to share your struggles and successes. What are your struggles and what are your successes? You should be able to say them comfortably in an environment that builds you. And so you should be able to pronounce them so that somebody can be of help to you. Even build your esteem more when they know that you have these successes. Oh, these are your struggles and therefore you need help here and there. The other thing is to set boundaries and expectations for yourself. Learn to set boundaries and expectations. That also helps you to practice accountability. The last one is that you should always yearn and seek feedback as a way of building accountability. And constructive criticism helps you learn more, learn better, become better. And so it's part of developing a culture of accountability. Thank you.
We really appreciate you, Dr. Eki. We appreciate you, Mr. Muhumuza. We appreciate you, Mr. Sambaga, for this topic and the breakdown. Thank you so much. And to our viewer, we are grateful, especially the fact that you have watched from where we started from up to now. We've come to the end of Leadership His Way, today's episode. I've worked with Jonah Jal Owakali and Essie, and from the entire team, we wish you a blessed evening.